All right. So we're on.
We'll come up with a goddamn name, and we'll come up with a...
It's not.
I think
It's not the Four Horsemen. Because
Welcome to the Four Horsemen.
Not the name because
all right,
we're
there.
all married men.
Yeah,
There's
we
only
are.
3 of us. There's a lot of problems with that name, and I feel like that's too generic of a name.
Yeah, that's why I like the
Also-
Killer Threes.
The Killer 3 is a little inside. I don't know why that's a little inside compared to other names of the possibilities. I'm okay with I don't know, a more off the wall kind of a name. More, but like I said,
You want to
like I
go
said,
with Off the Wall? That's the name. Off the Wall.
I think no, that's more of a.
Hi, I'm Grant. By the way, I'm Grant.
Oh, are we doing? Oh, we'll go.
Are we doing real names?
Hold on,
Like,
go.
Hi,
wait.
my name's not Grant.
Yeah.
You're the guy in the center. I feel like you should actually start us
Yeah, you.
All right,
yeah.
so
in
let's-
some way. So,
So this is not Grant, and
Not
that's,
Grant.
and that's not Julian.
hi.
And I'm sure as shit not Greg.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Now that you got that out the way, we're going to sit here and talk about the shit we always talk about, and that's some wrestling.
And I'm gonna get this out of the way too. I feel like that this is gonna turn into. I'm just gonna make Julian try to convince me on why I need to start watching wrestling again.
Oh, we the Threebirds.
I
The
once
Threebirds?
had- I once
We're
had-
the Threebirds.
for
Yeah.
6
The
episodes.
Fabulous Threebirds.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's look it up.
Look it up.
The Fabulous Threebirds. That actually,
That's not bad.
shit.
Yeah, that's all right.
Fuck, that came out of nowhere, like
All right.
just off the text.
We're gonna.
Nope.
It's gonna be cool. So
That
instead
is
of
what we are right now.
We are the
sweet.
Fabulous
As of
Threebirds.
right now,
Fabulous
we're the Fabulous
Threebirds.
Threebirds.
Heck yeah! So Confederate flag shirt
No.
on its way, guys.
No.
You ready? All right.
All right.
Do you want to do an actual introduction?
Yeah, welcome to the Fabulous Threebirds.
I'm not Grant.
And I'm not Greg.
And I am not Julian.
Are you sure?
No.
Welcome back. We are the Fabulous Threebirds. I'm not Greg.
I'm not Grant.
I'm not Julian. I'm not.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good show for you today because we're going to talk about SummerSlam 92, but how do we really want to kick this show off? Because a lot of shit happened in wrestling this week. Like, all right, here it is. Full disclosure, I did not watch Raw, I did not watch SmackDown, and I did not watch AEW for multiple reasons. But
Or Ring of Honor, probably.
no, no. So I am happy that Claudio has his first world title. I think the guy deserves it. So I will say that. But
Yeah, I guess FTR. I'm assuming they tore the house down with the Briscoes, so it's what it seems like.
I've been trying to find shit on that because I've been waiting. It's not like it hasn't happened before. I'm just saying I've been waiting for like 2 real tag teams in that damn company to get together and do the damn thing. And I know they tore the house down. Quite frankly, I don't know what you got to do, Tony Khan, but if you got to get the Briscoes on your show, sorry, you just have
People
to.
get over old tweets.
Yeah, let that shit die out.
You want to bitch about old tweets, or you want good wrestling?
I mean, look, have the Briscoes go away to Mecca like Will Smith did and have everybody forget about it, and then somebody give them a $35 million movie. So this is how you do it. You just change the news cycle and whatever. Because quite frankly, the old tweets of the Briscoes, I mean, it's wrestling. If you don't understand the type of people that are like wrestlers, then you don't get it. I mean, the GOAT himself has said some things that you would go, why do you like that dude? Yeah, so, it is what it is. Now, moving into SummerSlam 92. Now, this is one Julian picked, and we started with this one, and I'm going to tell you right now, when I queued it up, first off, can I say, Peacock, all right, you motherfuckers, let me explain
I'm
something.
happy that you're going like you're going right down the road that I was going to go down. I was going to have a hate speech about Peacock as well. So go ahead.
Yeah, like okay, what you need to do, I don't know, get the fucking intern in there, and that's all they do because they got no life, obviously, because that's how you treat an intern. But literally have them catalog the shit by year and not by seasons. This is not how
Just
this
pop the fucking year at the end. I was sitting there watching SummerSlam 91, And like I was just like, huh, like this is fucking weird because like this doesn't seem right. And then I look out, oh, I was on season 4, not season 5. That's my fault, I guess.
Wembley Arena looked a little different, did it?
Yeah.
You're sitting here trying to look, and I know some of the actual matches from '92, but that's not the fucking picture. So I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I know it's not Yokozuna, so I skipped the picture of Yokozuna. I was like, it's somewhere in here. God damn it! Season this, season that. Fuck that, man. Look, just say SummerSlam '92 and be done. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 13, WrestleMania 14. Don't say WrestleMania season 9. I don't know what the fuck that is. And WrestleMania is not a show by itself that has multiple seasons like that. Like when you say season, you think of fucking 13 to 26 episodes within a season. That's not how the fucking pay-per-views work. Sorry.
Hey, don't worry about it. It won't be on there for very much longer. It's going to be on Disney Plus by like next year, probably. So,
Okay.
we only have a short amount of time with this thing,
Yeah, well, they need to figure it out within that damn year because that was frustrating as shit. So, all right, 92. Let's go.
Okay. May I? Because this is the 30th anniversary, ladies and gentlemen, of what is WrestleManias are much more arguable. And of course, all of them are about your personal taste. SummerSlams are a little less arguable. I do think that this is the actual best overall SummerSlam. I think it's the single most epic one. And it has a weird theme of like what they can do at SummerSlam is not necessarily blow off every single story. And this is, I think, if I may, I think that this is one of their best broadcasts, period. Like SummerSlam, WrestleMania, everything included, TV, everything. This was.
Are you talking about 92 in particular?
92 in particular, I think it was on the short list of single best broadcasts that the WWE has ever had. I just think that this was.
Now, why do you think that?
Well, I'm about to say that. I think that is honestly a masterpiece of actual wrestling storytelling from like beginning to end. I think that there are moments and matches in this where everything comes together, and it's not even that they're necessarily blowing off all these storylines. In fact, most of them are just part of a longer story, and I don't even fully recall when they wrapped up some of these stories. I assume they did it as Survivor Series. It may have went all the way to WrestleMania with some of them. And I mean, the mid card is just filled with all these great little stories. We'll get to a particular favorite of mine, which you just wouldn't think that this match would be. When we get to the Michaels Rick Martel match, I got a lot to say because I just think that the broadcast all came together. The camera shots, the storytelling, just how easy it was to understand for the people at home and for 80 freaking thousand plus people in this huge stadium. And I just think that there's examples of that all throughout it. It's just some of the best camera work. It's some of the best storytelling with the camera shots, period. The main event has a lot of that good stuff. This is three-dimensional fucking wrestling storytelling at its finest all throughout this entire pay-per-view. And it doesn't make a lot of sense because Vince McMahon, who we'll talk about, who just retired, this is like an opus for him. And I don't know how he did it, because if he's making producer calls while he's in the commentary chair, then this man is he's a genius. I mean, this was it. This is probably what got this guy to think, oh, I am fucking Walt Disney, is like nights like this and shows like this. And I think this also was the event that made Bret Hart look like a top guy. And he says that this is his favorite match of his entire career. So this moment is like his favorite in-ring moment, and it's a great story. And I think it showed once again why I believe Bret Hart is the greatest storytelling wrestler ever. Just all around.
Okay, let me say this, because as you were explaining this, the first thing I thought about when I was watching it, and we can jump around for matches, but the first thing I was thinking when I was watching it, I looked at it and said, you know what? Jesus H. Christ here. Bret Hart might be the GOAT. Like
This is
Like,
the one that'll start twisting your arm into that direction. Yeah, this is
yeah,
one of them.
this is one of them. Like when, okay, you can say the Von Erichs were born to wrestle. You can say the Harts were born to wrestle. There are certain people in this industry that are just born to do this, and with the talent that they have, the God-given talent that they have, and plus all the hard work they put into doing it, makes them absolutely amazing. I was watching Bret Hart literally with his brother-in-law put on this fucking amazing match in front of his brother-in-law's, basically his hometown. I mean, the whole goddamn country is behind him. And I'm watching him call it. Like, if you really paid attention, you could see some of those camera shots that you were talking about. Brett's in there calling it. Every time he put him in that goddamn chin lock, he would sit there, be right behind him, and he's calling this match. And I'm like, this dude is fucking amazing. Everything he does looks A, real, B, fluid. Nothing, it doesn't look like a pulled punch. It doesn't, like everything. And you're just like, holy shit, how great is Bret Hart for real? Like, I know, and we can talk about this later when I wanted to touch on the A&E thing with Goldberg, but I know Goldberg pretty much ended his career. And I'm like, if Bret had gotten another, 5 to 10 years, literally, would we literally be calling him the GOAT? Like, would we? Because, I mean, I know booking is one thing, but man, he's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He can sell merchandise. Like, everything about Bret Hart, I was like, okay, no matter how you feel about him personally, like, you could say he's rough around the edges of the type of attitude. What I think it really is Bret is literally a no-nonsense type of dude. Like, he is what he is. And that may have hurt him in his career, but damn. But go ahead. I just wanted to say that because it was just, it was just amazing.
Grant, how did you feel about the homework assignment? Just from the time you fired
the show
him?
as a whole, or Bret Hart?
No, just
you can go off Bret. How you feel about Bret?
How you feel about Bret? How you feel? Yeah.
I don't like Bret Hart. I didn't really care about the match. I barely paid attention to it.
No, I'm laughing because he's serious. Like, seriously, I had to twist his arm one time. This is a long time ago. I had to twist his arm one time to make him watch Bret Nolan. I was like, trust me, if you watch Bret Nolan.
Strange taste.
I like Owen. I like Owen. I've never been a fan of Bret. It's the same as I can never explain to you why I don't like The Undertaker. I think he's boring and I don't care.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But I don't know. Most of it, there were a couple matches that I skipped. I think
what you mean you skipped? You mean to tell me you didn't watch the Repo Man? Sorry.
I did not watch the Repo Man.
Probably the one.
As soon as I saw Repo Man, I was like, click.
Yeah. What was it? Was it Nail?
There are
was it Repo Man
let me
Nails?
up matches, but for crying out loud, you got to have a few. I mean,
it was Repo Man and Nails.
We'll go match by match here, and I just we'll just go match by match and get the thoughts. But
real quick, Nails. If you catch his profile, he looks like Mr. Incredible from the profile picture. Like, I was sitting there like,
Virgil. We'll get to Virgil. I got some comments on Virgil. Actually, we'll be getting to him very quickly.
Somebody couldn't give him a tissue, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw it too. Okay. I yelled at Abby other room. Like, come in here. He was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Why won't it stop running?" I don't know
for a minute, but yeah. So it opens. Let's talk about the dark matches because I kind of wish you could see the dark matches. To be honest, Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers defeat the Mountie and the Nasty Boys. Actually, was that on here? It was on here, right? 1D, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are that's right. That was the opener, right?
Yeah, because they had the interview with the Nasty Boys, the promo where I was just like, why are they talking?
Yeah. So it's a weird way to start the show or whatever. But so anyway, yeah. But I love the Mountie. I love the Nasty Boys. Just seriously, when you watch the Mountie, it's fucking hard not to just get a kick out of Mountie. Like that dude had a lot of fun, man, and he's fucking just yucking it up. And shit, what was his tag team? The Quebecers, right?
Yeah, I was about to say the Quebecers. Yeah,
Always just good, just solid as hell workers and everything. And I love the Mountie. And he just Jacques Rougeau. So Jacques Rougeau is he's a solid ass worker and just having the time of his life as like a cartoonish bad guy. And I think the Nasty Boys kind of do the same thing. The Nasty Boys are kind of sneaky good. Like if you watch them, if you liked how I liked APA, if you like stiff, like I loved the Bludgeon Brothers and all that stuff. If you like teams like that, like occasionally just a fucking team of hosses that come in and just knock people out. That's what they were, man. It was, they were goofy and shit, but I don't know, they were nasty. Like they look, you can't fake that look. They were rotund, like they looked like the bad guys from all the video games, and like they looked like the bad guys from like all the movies, like the really over the top 80s bad guys. And I love them. I don't know. And they went against the Bushwhackers and Jim Duggan, and yeah. So, and then there was thoughts on any of these people.
well, the Nasty Boys are like the way Grant feels about the Undertaker and Bret Hart. I don't give two shits about the Nasty Boys. I always thought the Nasty Boys gimmick was interesting, but like I never really I never really believed, like when somebody sits there and goes, we're nasty, we're mean, like, like the first thing I think about is Half Baked when whatchamacallit was in jail and they was like, show me your mean face, and he was like, I don't believe in them being actually mean. Now I know they stiff as hell. They work real stiff. So I mean, there's plenty of folks that sat there and say, yeah, these guys work real stiff, and sometimes you have to give them a receipt to show them like, okay, that's enough. But this was one of the matches where I was like, okay, fast forward. Ooh, Lord Alfred Hayes. That's how I feel about the Nasty Boys.
Yeah. Bushwhackers fan, Grant?
Sheep herders.
The sheep herders. If you ever watch their stuff as the sheep herders, they were fucking like, they were kind of like, I don't know, the Briscoes or something.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Bushwhackers are fine.
Really good.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, they were entertaining.
Yep.
See, but that's the thing. That's the Vince thing. The Bushwhackers are the Vince thing. Vince makes these like.
Well, that's what I'm like. A lot of these people are like, this is that weird WWE time where the character. I mean, like you said, your first thing is going to go to Repo Man. Like
right.
These are when the characters are kind of getting ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, this was, but everybody that was in these shitty gimmicks was like a good worker. So it was kind of weird because, like, seriously, the Mountie was. I just think he was like the penultimate of all these guys, and the guy next, Papa Shango. I would say those two guys, like, just really they did good with what they were handed. You know what I mean? And
I mean, the Godfather is Papa Shango, and that's one of Grant's favorites.
yeah, and that's what was. We'll
Talk bad about Papa Shango.
Papa Shango defeats Tito Santana, and Tito Santana is kind of doing the. It didn't age well, y'all.
The El Matador thing.
Yeah, because that's from Spain, man. I
know.
Fighting in Mexico, but it's more of a Spain thing. I don't think they do rodeo in Mexico. They don't really do.
I know, but speaking of which, what convinced them to do that? Because like Tito Santana was raw as Tito Santana. Like you didn't have to do anything to him. And that whole gimmick, I was just like,
now
really?
he occasionally just came out in a Charros outfit, and I forget what he was wearing here, but he was usually wearing like the Spanish Matador fucking thing. But I think I saw him in an actual Charros suit. That's really what he should have had. It's classy.
This is about okay. So here's the side note rant. So I was reading our Twitter. So thanks guys on these Twitter posts are just amazing. I was on the Threebirds Twitter page, and somebody was talking about Vince, and they were talking about him retiring, and basically they were fanboying all up WWE. And the comment, and I'm paraphrasing, the comment was, "Thank you, Vince, something or other. Without you, there would have been no wrestling." And it goes
I don't know if
further. Yeah, it goes further into it. But then somebody else put under, like, I was just started reading comments at that point. I was in the wormhole. So somebody else was like, "Are you stupid or are you just dumb? Like, are you serious right now?"
Yeah.
Like then they fired back. Vince made everybody tell me a wrestler before Vince McMahon. And
Yeah.
at that point, I was like, I'm full into this shit now, because you're about to get.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, somebody actually wrote Ric Flair, and that's all they wrote. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The two each
Kind of
one.
famous.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, there were plenty of folks before Vince. I mean, hell, you could literally walk it down. Now, you can say Vince McMahon helped Kurt Hennig as Mr. Perfect, but Kurt Hennig was always Kurt Hennig. He was Kurt Hennig and the AWA champion well before Vince McMahon. You had Ric Flair. You had freaking, hell, you had the Road Warriors. The reason the shit is called the Road Warrior Pop was from a team that had nothing to do with Vince McMahon. So what the fuck are you talking about? Name a wrestler before Vince McMahon? Okay.
Well, Tito Ortiz started before, he got there, before Vince owned the company. And I believe he might have worked for his dad. So
that's what I'm saying. But that's how you know this kid's got to be 20. Like, unfortunately for him, he can't read a book or watch a Peacock, because maybe he just can't find the shit, but you could tell he was young.
He's looking for stuff and he can't find anything.
right so you could tell he was young. I was just like, Jesus Christ, kid.
Youngin.
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you just
Tito Ortiz. He's from Mission, Texas. Okay. And he was trained by Hiro Matsuda and Bob Orton. That's Bob Orton. Okay, that's the grandpa of Randy Orton.
You're right. That's Bob Orton Sr. Yes.
Yep. And they all, man, he looks like, when you look at a picture of Bob Orton, like, yeah, his dad or whatever, Bob Jr. really looks like it. But yeah, so this was some gimmicky shit, but I liked Papa Shango like fucking everybody else did. And I prefer my spooky characters to be in the form of a Papa Shango. And well, I don't know, whatever. It's nostalgic. It's 6 minutes match, and it was okay. I think Papa Shango was new at this point, right?
Oh yeah, Papa Shango was new at this point. The Godfather was trying to do something with him. I mean, he had the look. Like, the look was reminiscent of, is that Live and Let Die, James Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was reminiscent of that type of character. And that's the thing. Like, it's weird, the things that Vince, we always say he's the ringmaster of a circus, but it's weird the things that he actually has seen and the things he has never seen before in his life. But the characters he creates, you just go, you like superheroes, but you never admit that you read comic books or something. Like, he's that type of guy. He's like, everybody has to have this superhero type of thing. It's got to have the Repo Man and Duke the Dumpster Drosy and Isaac Yankem DDS, and like, it's all these normal everyday jobs, and you're just like, fuck, let's do that. I almost think the Repo Man came from somebody who wound up late to a show and was like, Vince, I'm sorry I'm late, but like, the Repo Man came and got my car. I had to get a ride here. And Vince was like, that's perfect. Repo Man.
You know what a man.
Well, that seems like, man, watching the IRS match with $1 Million Man, it was just like, did Vince just like, hey, I hate paying taxes. Those guys are assholes. So I'm going to make a character and call them Shyster. Like, yes. It feels like that was thought of for 5 minutes and they went with it.
Well, yeah, because I like how IRS would come out. If he was in America, he'd come out and be like, you son of bitches don't pay your taxes and you're stealing from the government. Like, he had to change it for this. And it was weird. He was like, because you folks don't pay the queen your taxes. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that works over there.
Yeah, well, hold on. Then are we ready for the next match? Because the next match is something to talk about for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember this? Did you remember the first time you saw this entrance? This match was the Legion of Doom versus Money Inc. This was one of the most epic. If the audio quality was a little better from back then, we probably would call it one of the best pops ever, maybe. This was a, prime LOD pop. This is when they came out in Wembley Stadium. Huge runway, by the way, with fucking motorcycles.
Well, yeah. I
And-
mean, they're the fucking Road Warriors. I mean, everything about them. Like, and I'm always going to call them Road Warriors. I know Vince wanted to change it and create. Like, he has this thing about things that he doesn't necessarily create getting over, and he has to fuck with shit that don't need to be fucked with. But
yeah, he avoided ripping off their own gimmick by ripping off fucking the Super Friends.
Mhm.
Basically.
Right. So, I mean, what got me about it, and since we're into the match, number one, Ted DiBiase doesn't get the credit he deserves. And by that time, Ted DiBiase was on the tail end of his career. The injury started to pile up on him, so he wasn't the same Ted DiBiase. But literally, Ted DiBiase, if y'all don't know, the $1 Million Man was literally in conversation to be like back in the territory days when they decided who was going to wear the belt and basically make money for the industry. He was in conversation to be the heavyweight champion of the world. Like, Ted DiBiase is no slouch. And then you put him with Mike Rotunda, who is a phenomenal athlete and phenomenal wrestler himself. That team together, I mean, they played off each other very, very well. The gimmicks worked very, very well. But you have the Road Warriors pretty much, as far as anybody in the world is concerned, the Road Warriors could come out and wrestle a fucking chair. They're there for the fucking Road Warriors. So when they came out on those bikes, done deal. Done deal. It was amazing. What I did notice, and tell me you see it. I forgot about the fucking dummy that was with Paul Ellering that they had him work with during this time period. I completely forgot about that whole little gimmick. But why did the dummy look like?
Story? Like, I wasn't familiar with what the dummy was about.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I just remember there was a dummy, and it was the basically the consultant of Paul Eller. Some bullshit because I was a kid. But looking at it again, why does that dummy look like fucking Eric Bischoff?
That's what I thought. I was thinking dummy of Eric Bischoff in 1992. Like, that's kind of weird, right? Like, Eric Bischoff isn't a thing.
Reason to hate on the man at that time.
No, but I'm saying when Eric would wear the leather jacket and all that shit during the NWO, I was like, this dummy looks just like Eric. Holy shit. So, yeah, go ahead.
Thing about this match, they and this was a thing. If you didn't notice, they didn't pull off the Doomsday device.
Correct.
And there were a lot of people that did not want to fucking bother taking that. And I think that, man, DiBiase, who
he couldn't take it at the time.
Didn't take it. Hell no. And you could just the respect there, because they both worked Minnesota, right? That was right.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're DiBiase. No, DiBiase was Mid-South, right?
Yeah, but they had worked. They had done matches together before.
That's why I figured.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily Minnesota, but they had done matches together in different territories.
Indeed. Well, so a lot of respect there, and it kind of showed. And yeah, it's just really fun to watch. This was the beginning of the stuff that was long-term storytelling. So they didn't want to, burn this match completely, but they also still had a finish. But you could tell it was like this wasn't over, and they're like saving the Doomsday device for maybe another time. And I don't know if he ever took it or if this was the end of this. Maybe, I'm not sure, because I know how up and down the Legion of Doom run was, or how confused it could get. But yeah, man, I love Money Inc., man. It's just a guilty pleasure. So yeah, some of the gimmicks, man, were really gimmicky. Some of them worked. I don't know why.
Say it again. What did you say, Grant?
I said I forgot big. Like when he was getting in there, it's like Jesus, like his back. Like I thought for some reason he was smaller.
Oh yeah. No. It was interesting to see because I'm like, again, this is back in the day when the storytelling mattered and it wasn't necessarily a spot show. The spots enhanced the story. So like, okay,
that's what I had to tell my wife because she was like, "This is kind of boring," and I was like, "Well, you've only watched wrestling the past like 5 years. Like, they didn't do all the flip crap and run around and go spot to spot to spot. Like I was like, there's like 10 moves in these matches."
Right. It was all about the story and the facials. Like you're in a crowd of 80,000 people, which is amazing because the cameras. This is where the camera work actually comes into play. The cameras has to get the facials and push this story along, and granted with you have, long hair, flowing hair, that helps too. But I mean, in something like this with the Road Warriors, with Hulk being who he was and, Animal had the ponytail, but still you had to get the facials and you had to get the story across that this stuff was very, very painful and these guys hate each other and all that had to play into it. You couldn't just make this a spot show. Like you for 80,000 people being way up in the cheap seats, you'll be like, okay, I just missed something. It's over. Look at the big screen. What did I miss? It wasn't like replay was every 3 seconds like it is now too. That's the other thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I noticed too is that the entire time, no matter what match it was, if it was a boring match, someone you didn't care about, the actual main event, the crowd, there's always a crowd noise and there's always people cheering. And I realized something, that nobody had cell phones back then. So like if you weren't into something,
right,
you still had to sit there and watch it. You couldn't check out. Because like now you can literally have a dead arena, like no sounds at all.
Oh no, people
but like
checking
back
their Instagrams.
You don't have anything else back then. So it was like when you look out in that crowd, every single person is watching, whether they want to or not.
Oh yeah. And then sometimes you might look up and see something that you're like, okay, this is done. I don't want to see the Repo Man. But then something will happen. Somebody will come out. It'll be a surprise or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, this might be interesting, which pulls you or draws you back in. Like there's always something to draw you in. I did also notice the packages. This was one of the first pay-per-views that I can remember from being that far back, where the package before the match was very intensive, and it wasn't just a replay from the TV show the week before. They actually put some stuff into it. I guess this is when they first started. Like we can tell a story within the package, So
oh man, and it's one of the best packages ever. Later on this broadcast, the Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and that was the running theme. Like I did enjoy the running thing through the whole pay-per-view. I mean, we're talking 3-hour pay-per-view, and the running theme was, who is Mr. Perfect gonna come out with?
Yes.
And to have Lord Alfred Hayes like go up to the dressing rooms and they slam the door in his face and he's like, how rude, and all that worked. That worked. So by the time the package happened, you were sitting there like, okay, I'm ready to see this. Now they did kind of fuck up. I don't know if it was a fuck. Let me not say that. I don't know if this was a fuck up or if they considered every match, or not every match, but certain matches main events. They did call something the main event well before the Warrior Macho Man match, which was interesting. I'm trying to remember which match it was, but it'll probably come to me. But anyway, back.
Yeah. I think they called. Oh, main event was was like a term for the second half of the show.
Okay, it might have been the Brett. It might have been the Brett. No,
I think the whole.
No, I think they called. Yeah, I was about to say. I think they called. They called Warrior Macho the main event, and Brett and
second
Davey Boy hadn't happened yet. Because that to me, for all those people in that arena, the main event is Davey Boy.
Yeah,
the British Bulldog. That's the main event. But I think they called.
That's what it's the two. They just they might have fucked up. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they did it one. Bobby the Brain Heenan is amazing. So let's start there.
Yeah, the commentary team. Grant, is this something you quietly hate that we should know about? Because
I always love Vince on commentary, and I love Bobby the Brain. Yeah. No, I was happy with that.
Wait. The Brain put on that dang on crown.
Yeah.
And Vince was like, take that silly thing off. You look like you're doing a margarine commercial. And I damn near lost it. I don't know why.
The back and forth with him and Vince like fucking pulled me in right away.
That tickled the shit out of me. I don't know why, but
energetic the whole time too. I don't know. I think that if your wife would have seen a Doomsday Device, and I don't know, if you just would crank up the commentary, probably wouldn't feel too bored overall with whatever was going on there.
Yeah, I just think with the Doomsday Device, they hit you with it.
Yeah,
like for real. Like
it kind of flung you a little bit, and I don't know, man. It just, they were beating up jobbers, and it looked like they were killing people.
They were damn near killing people, and main eventers were like, no, seriously, they hit you with it. Like once you get up there, he's clotheslining you, and you don't know how you're landing. Like you can't brace yourself for the spin. And it's like,
I mean, the swerve into glory, whatever they call it, Swerve and Keith Lee I think they're doing a more controlled version of that bump because he's controlling you in a power bomb as you're going down with that thing. But if you turn it around and you're doing that electric seat thing, I mean, your electric chair, I mean, you don't really have a lot. All you can do is stand there or go back, but you can't really help that guy out much.
Well, that's the thing. If Animal would fall backwards with you,
it would help.
It would help a whole hell of a lot. But literally, you're literally just peeling this dude off that guy's shoulders. It is like fucking
the wrestling boy finisher if I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is one of those things where you got the Road Warriors tonight, and somebody goes, shit. Okay. I'll be on the outside waiting for a hot tag.
Right. All right, you getting the hot tag tonight? The other guy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be in there when they do that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be like the ref is gonna be like telling me something. So yeah.
And let's not burn that much time on this next one. Nails versus Virgil. Virgil, I've heard this talked about on some other podcasts talking about this, I believe. Yeah, man. Was he on cocaine?
Dude, he was on something. And this guy,
I don't know what he was punching back in the hallway either. He was just sitting there. The way he was punching, like his nose was running, like it was a mess.
Yeah, dude. It's like his character. This is when I went to the kitchen or something. I come back, I'm like, I think his character was just a crackhead. Like, I don't know what his gimmick was.
Well, that's the thing. His gimmick was he was the $1 Million Man's basically his butler.
Yeah.
And driver, like driving Miss Daisy, and he's not supposed to talk. He's supposed to be some type of mean enforcer from wherever, I don't know, but he sucks as a wrestler. He sucks as a personality, and from what everybody says, he sucks as a person. And he's sitting here doing this promo where he's punching the air like he's the boxing champion of the world. And then the guy interviewing him is sitting there like, okay, why do you keep like punching at my face? Like, what is going on here? And Virgil's sitting there talking, and clearly he had just seen MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit video.
Yep.
Because
he quoted MC Hammer. He quotes
Too Legit to Quit and does the whole hand gesture wrong. And I'm like, oh, God damn.
Maybe he felt like he had to change it for copyright purposes.
I guess. I don't know. I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on?
So,
Grant,
yeah.
any fond Virgil memories or MC Hammer memories?
No, I did catch that he did the Too Legit wrong. His Instagram's pretty ridiculous, and he was my least favorite member of the NWO, next to Scott Norton.
Oh man, I like Scott Norton.
Here's the thing. At least Scott Norton, you could
Work.
say that Scott Norton could probably work and beat up somebody. Like Virgil being a member of the NWO made me go, yeah, okay. Like I never with the zillion and one people that they put in that damn faction. Virgil, really, Virgil.
Well, even Ted DiBiase, they got like old man Ted because it's like, what? He's got money, or who's got the money? I thought he wasn't the payroll anymore, and it's like it got confusing. But Scott Norton, you would believe they hired him so they didn't have to fight him. Like they just hired him for hired muscle.
Right.
He was perfect. He actually fit.
Right. I mean, it was just a goddamn Virgil. So I watched this match and I sat there and I focused on nails, actually. I really did. I was like, look, it's Mr. Incredible. Like, I mean, the guy, God bless him. I mean, what was how do you explain the prison penal system to a different country? Like the whole fucking gimmick is like lost on them. Like seriously lost on them. So it was just like, okay, whatever. I guess I guess Ted was like, okay, he made the flight, Vince. At least give him a payday, right? I don't know. Like
we're
seriously.
giving this nails thing a try. It's another occupation, a prisoner. So now it was short. It was the shortest match other than the Undertaker one later on, which is basically a squash kind of
which I don't appreciate because
well,
I'll wait till we get there. We'll
get to that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, that was 3 minutes and 55 seconds, and Nails defeated Virgil, which is like, it really just so it's like Virgil. Yeah, let's not forget that Virgil lost. So like they were actually just building up Virgil very briefly, and then they basically, had this Nails guy who he was brought in to face the who did he go against? The Undertaker, right? Undertaker monster, another.
Yeah, they were trying to figure out how to get monsters for the Undertaker. Oh, I can't wait to get to that match. Although this
resulted in one of the worst runs that any Hall of Famer maybe ever had. So I understand some things that Grant is talking about. There's a lot of bad Undertaker, and we can get into that.
Okay. So hands down, I think Mark Calloway had the best character in the history of this industry. Number one, I think the way they built him and the way he took the character, I think it is literally, he's a silent genius. Like you probably won't, like for Grant, he probably won't understand his genius till way later, like when we're 70, and then Grant's gonna go.
No. I get it.
Fine.
I once the bell rings, I check out. Like I'm good with everything else.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's subtle things in it that makes once the bell ring work. So like I get what you're saying. All it was walk, step, chop, down, pop up, choke slam, and the coming, walking the ropes. I know what you're saying. It's the five moves of doom type of thing. I get it. But if you focus on what he literally had to do, he had to do everything. I attribute what he used to do in the ring in a way, the way Bruce Lee used to have to work for TV. Bruce Lee used to have to slow everything down because the cameras couldn't catch it in real time. So to do the things we saw Bruce Lee do, you have to understand that Bruce Lee was doing it at like 20 to 30%, which makes it even more amazing. So the Undertaker worked the same way, like to naturally, as a human being and as an entertainer or whatever, to naturally tell yourself I can't move like a human. I can't react like a human. I can't even walk. You know how you would just chase somebody around the ring? I can't even do that. You have to literally slow everything down. I just thought it was fucking amazing to me. Like that whole match, and I know we jumped to it, we'll go backwards, but the entrance, number one, nothing beats a fucking Undertaker entrance ever. Sorry, nothing beats it. And that was the first time to me where the entrance was like, damn, hands down, if you're looking for a spectacle, that's a spectacle. The way he rode in on the back of that hearse, if I'm 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, which I was, I'm scared of you.
I'm scared of death. You know?
Yeah, I don't want whatever this is.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, if this is death, I don't want it. Sorry. Like
elemental fear there.
He played that part very, very well. And this is before, I mean, like when bringing the lights up was a thing. Now, obviously he couldn't bring the lights up in that place. It was still daytime anyway, but it was just starting to get dark. But like seriously, the whole mystique of it, he goes in, you hit him, he reacts like Michael Myers. He's literally Michael Myers in wrestling. And it's just like,
yeah, most of the time the way he moves, he moves very deliberately.
Yeah, that's kind of, and that's probably why I kind of like it, because I mean, like Michael Myers is my favorite, horror film villain, whatever. But at that time he reminded me of Michael Myers. You go, how does this slow motherfucker kill everybody? Like everything was deliberate, slow, and no sell. But it was a no sell to the degree of which you go, wow, this guy ain't making it look real. It was almost wow, nothing hurts him. So when he gets in the match and he wrestles Kamala the Ugandan Giant. So again, this is a wrestler prior to the WWE that literally was considered a monster. You could take him back to the WCCW days, and Kamala, people don't want to wrestle Kamala. Kamala was one of those people who had 4 fucking moves, but you believed he was from the goddamn bush in Africa and couldn't speak a lick of English and probably didn't even know his name was Kamala. And you believed it, and he chopped you and he beat you and he fell on you, and it was a done deal. So you put him against this guy that you're like, well, because a lot of people confuse it. I don't think I ever confused it, but a lot of people was like, the Undertaker was supposed to be a dead guy. No, he wasn't. He was supposed to have some type of fucking supernatural power within that fucking urn, but I viewed him as the taker of souls. Like I viewed him as he is the portal between life and death. He's not necessarily dead. Like I didn't believe he was a fucking zombie. Like I don't understand where that came from, but you had him sit there and work with this dude, and it was just, man, to me, the subtle nuances of the match with the Undertaker, even when they, jumped off the ropes, when Kamala jumped off the ropes and basically squashed him like 6 times, and he laid there. He didn't even do what what they're told to do to brace for somebody basically giving you a frog splash, and get your arms up. You got to get your arms up to protect your sternum and all that from getting literally crushed for real. You get your arms up to brace for the fall. He took like 3 or 4 splashes with his arms flat on the mat. And then he does the pop-up, the Michael Myers pop-up type thing. And it's like, God damn, man, you really bought into that fucking character. But that's just me. Go ahead.
Thoughts on the Undertaker versus Kamala match, Grant?
Oh, he didn't give a shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't care.
Do you know
Is
who
this Undertaker's first SummerSlam?
Do you know who Kim Chi was, the handler for Kamala? Do you know who that was?
Yeah.
Who is Kim Chi?
It was the Brooklyn Brawler.
That's about right.
So that was his gig. So he got on here. Anyway. All right. So that was a little out of order, but that's fine. That's fine because the Undertaker is a topic that can just, pop up. Whenever. So the next match is I want to get your thoughts on this one. It's Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels.
Here we go. Okay, go ahead.
With sensational Sherry. This is the recently turned heel Shawn Michaels. He is in I mean, they're calling her, it's Sherry Martel, like they call her that. Sometimes they just call her Scary Sherry or Sensational Sherry. They have actually said she is in fact Sherry Martel, who is in this love triangle with real life husband Rick Martel and Shawn Michaels. This is one of the packages you were talking about, and this was probably one of the early examples of a great week to week clip package that they made, and it spanned over a few weeks, and they're kind of trying to tell a complicated story, and it's just ironically, I don't know, I love the whole thing. I don't know why. I love Sherry. She's one of my favorite managers ever. She was
probably the best. She was the best part of this match, I felt.
Oh hell yeah!
Sherry,
I mean,
this match doesn't get over without Sherry. Sherry is probably one of the better women's wrestlers in the history of wrestling, number one. But this match doesn't get over without her.
Oh man, it's all her. So that's kind of why I like this match. I think of it as like one of her highlights of her whole career, basically. So this is a fun little storyline. Obviously, they're married in real life, but they're just kind of winking at Rick Martel is he's the model. This is like the perfect gimmick for him, I thought. By the way, like he's a handsome man. He's chiseled, and he's a great worker. And he just needed something because he's got a thick accent, and he just needed to be kind of like a pompous, arrogant kind of what's the word I'm looking for? An Adonis type egomaniac character. A narcissistic character. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, so the narcissist before the narcissist.
The narcissist before the narcissist. That's what I was reaching for. So, and then he also had a gimmick weapon, of course, the spray. So we all love spray, right? I do.
Which didn't he basically get that from Adrian Adonis? Am I losing my mind, or isn't that the deal? Like he basically took Adrian Adonis's gimmick, like in a nutshell. Without the extras, obviously, but
pretty much, and probably a better worker, I guess. Certainly more physical.
Definitely a better worker. I mean, Rick Martel, another non WWE wrestler that was well over before coming to the World Wrestling Federation at the time. Definitely a better worker. So yeah.
So they did this package, and they have a backstage promo and everything, and it's they are not allowed to punch each other in the face.
Okay, so here's the this is the part of the thing that I did not get or did not understand.
It's already a rule, but
because
I love that stipulation a lot, man. It added something to the match for me.
But it did add, because I was like, how are they going to have a match? I had to sit there and go, how's this going to work? Like, how are they going to work? So, I didn't get it, but once they started to do it, the other part is I got what they were doing, because clearly no one understood when Shawn broke off and became sexy boy Shawn Michaels, basically. No one really understood. Like, they put Sherry with him because they knew Sherry could be didn't need to be his mouthpiece, but could complement him to get over. I get it. So they put him and her together, but the idea of Sherry, everybody was like, what is this spell Shawn Michaels has over Sherry Martel? Why is she basically his love slave in theory? This is supposed to be some Playboy Romeo type guy who can have any girl in this arena, but he has this main squeeze of a lady here that no one understands. Isn't she like 10 years older than him? Like, that was the other part. It was like, Jesus Christ, he's got this cougar here. And what is going on? So when the whole thing started to play out, and Rick Martel, which is her real life husband, but then I don't think they explained that or figured out how to explain why that was a thing. Rick Martel, okay, you could say he's the handsome man, and Sherry just had wandering eyes. But then when they played it out, Sherry's sitting there like, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. So I'm like, okay, y'all playing this love triangle with it would be different if the gimmick was Shawn and Sherry are in love. But everyone knew Shawn Michaels didn't give a shit about Sherry. He could have any girl in the damn room, and quite frankly, he probably would try. So it was like, okay, obviously, yeah, here you go. So in my mind, I'm like, obviously, Shawn don't care if she wanders off, but okay, I guess this is the thing. So the whole no hitting each other in the face, fellas, I was like, okay, whatever. Keep going.
Well, so they had that, and then when you get into the match, it's an 8-minute match. It feels a little longer because they are playing around with the beginning. The match is great. It just actually is. It's not like one of Michael's, whatever late 90s matches or whatever.
It's not a Mr. WrestleMania match.
It's not a Mr. WrestleMania match, but he's a big part of the show. And this thing, and this is London. There was like an element of theater to all this. And you could just tell like the audience was reacting to absolutely everything the way that they were supposed to react to absolutely everything.
Also, they were reacting to the fact that it looked like she was about to give him a blowjob. Like there's those elements too. That's not for London television or things they normally see. I mean, they had Benny Hill, but still,
Yeah. I think that this was like it turned into comic theater out there, and it was big enough that you could see its whole. It was Wembley could tell what was going on, and it's just so crazy that it just played out like theater. They used the ramp, they used this entire huge runway, and it's just so like when you think about it, their ring, because this is before you went outside the ring all over the place all the time.
Correct.
This is one of the longest runways that they've had in any show since or up until that point. So they used like a fucking football field to tell this story. And it's crazy. Like these two dudes and the manager told this story. They got a ring, sure, but they used the whole space and all the way up to the exit. And really, you did not see stuff like this at this time yet.
So let me ask you this.
Out.
Since that was the stipulation, whoever hits whoever in the face first loses the match?
Something like that. It didn't wind up.
Okay, because that's not what happened.
That played into
yeah, they
no, but my
So.
favorite part was probably right at the end, where after all the Gaga and the Sherry stuff, Martel still made it a point to come down and punch Shawn Michaels in the face and walk out.
Well, and so here's the thing. Two other things that make this match happen. Okay, Sherry does her thing. Number one, Sherry's amazing because the camera work got her perfectly. Literally, Sherry's on that apron, and then Sherry just drops. It wasn't even a faint pass out like I fell.
No.
It was literally you saw Sherry talking, and then Sherry went straight catatonic drop, and you hear
and that cameraman got an inch away from her face shooting that shot too, by the way.
Yeah, that's the best shot. That's one of the best shots in any fucking show. And this is what I'm saying is when they actually had the shot of her, all of it. I mean, the whole coverage of all of this was amazing. And you have to watch it. If you watch one match from this, I actually say you watch Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels. Sure, of course, you want to watch the other stuff too, but I mean,
I think this was my favorite. This is my favorite match out of the whole show.
Well, and this is the other thing, because then you think about the stuff like in the back or with the when they're going over through the shit, like somewhere along the line they were like, okay, Sherry, you're gonna take a kind of a beating here because you're gonna get dropped about 3 or 4 times, and you're gonna literally you had Shawn Michaels sit there and go, Sherry, what happened? And then he starts to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and doesn't do it. And then Rick Martel comes out, pushes Shawn, and literally gives her CPR by pressing down on her chest. And she's got to sit there and not do anything.
Yeah.
Pretend like she's out. And the best part is the brain going, she's out. She's out. I'm telling you, McMahon, she's out. She's out cold.
Yeah. Watch this with the commentary just sells it. It's just so funny, man. It's just like she's out, McMahon, she's out.
She's out. No, she doesn't know where she is. She's out. And Vince, well, I don't know about that. I think she's playing games. He was like, no, man, she's out. And then they're pressing on her chest. She's still out. Then Sean picks her up. And then he literally, as soon as he gets like punched or knocked, she just hits the floor. Like they treated her like a rag doll. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then then Rick Martel picks her up, puts her over the shoulder, or was it Sean that put her over the shoulder? It was just like, okay, here comes the second one. And then they hit him again, and then she just hits the floor again. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I know she's sitting there like, okay, how many times, guys? Like, seriously, how many times?
But they kept doing it for different, they used that whole ramp.
They did the whole ramp.
So long. I'd like to get I can't find out how long it was. But and the camera shot, the big one is where her face is in the foreground and you see Michaels in the background, and it's the way it's framed. It's like a Kurosawa movie. It's just it's fucking so good. And they never get that shot. And it was like they had to, they probably blocked it out. They were probably like, Sean, you got to actually stand over here. You got to come up this side of the ramp. Don't come up the other side or else it won't work. Right. So he has to walk on that right side. So whether they worked that out or that was just fucking luck, I don't know.
It could be a mixture. It could be complete blocking, or it could be a mixture of a good director and camera. Stay there and then frame this. Don't fucking move. Like, seriously, like roll your focus a little bit, whatever, but don't move. It could have been a mixture of both, but it told the story. And for 80,000 people, they're seeing this thing play out. Like, oh wow, this is interesting. Yeah, they had screens. So that's what I'm saying. They're seeing this on the big screen play out. Like, oh, that's what's happening down there. That's why she's on the ground. Like, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. So yeah, I mean, that was like one of the better matches that I witnessed on this pay-per-view. Like, I wrote down my top 3 matches. It was this. It was the British Bulldog, and believe it or not, the Warrior Macho Man match was good to me.
It was amazing.
And I hate the Ultimate Warrior.
Right. Yes, he did not.
Yeah, but I think that's something for Macho Man, right? Like, Macho's going to carry that match, and you just have to worry about Warrior going off on his own. But you can trust that Macho's going to try to at least have a good match.
Oh, yeah. We can fast forward to that. The next 2 matches were the Natural Disasters against the Beverly Brothers. I think the Beverly Brothers is the absolute worst gimmick on this roster at the time, because I don't know what the fuck a Beverly Brother is. I've never understood.
They were the fake dynamic dudes.
Some shit, and they had
that's what that was.
I don't know. I guess whatever, the dynamic dudes. My God. But the Natural Disasters are one of my guilty pleasures. I've met Typhoon when I was a kid. And I saw him and Greg the Hammer Valentine wrestle in Niles, Michigan. I just did my 20-year reunion last night. So this was over 20 years ago. I saw him and Greg the Hammer Valentine wrestle in a like dog collar match or something, and they broke the ring and they kept going, baby. It was fucking awesome.
Well, from what people say, Typhoon and Earthquake were some of the nicest guys in the world.
Oh man.
And they made sure that they didn't hurt you because they were big. Yeah. God, they were big. Yeah.
Greg the Hammer was super nice too, and that kind of, I always had a feeling that he was. I don't know what it is. He didn't really have too much of a mean bone in his body. He was so good though. Like, I really think you got to go back and watch some old school Greg the Hammer Valentine. He didn't want to hang around too long. But he was even good. I think he's one of those guys that was like he hung it up at the right time. He's like, fuck it. Like, I don't need to like keep, doing this till I'm.
Yeah. What else do I have to prove here? I'm good. I'm good with these last few paydays, and I will silently go away.
Yeah, he got some big ones at WCW and called it a day. But anyway, so that was that. And then of course Crush versus the Repo Man. Which was definitely a let me up match, and I wasn't into that. But these were new gimmicks at the time. I do recall enjoying this shit when I was a kid. I just do. I know we all look back at the gimmicks and everything. We're like, yeah, it was colorful and cotton candy and stupid, and yeah, it did wear on you after a minute. And I did get into WCW around this time and found them to be. They did some silly shit too. They had weird 1991, 1992. But whenever they had Rick Rude or Cactus Jack or something on the screen, and I liked Austin and Pillman and stuff, like whenever those guys were on the screen, I felt like it was more serious.
Was it 91 the RoboCop year?
Yeah. So
oh shit,
not what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, it was.
Well, they changed hands, they changed bookers like 3 or 4 times in a couple of years, and it got really weird. But they had that athletic, I think it was maybe Bill Watts came back or somebody like that. It's hard to fucking remember the timeline, who was in charge and doing whatever. But I think it might have been Flair booking again. No, because Flair came over here after he booked. See, it gets confusing. I just remember it like when Rick Rude was like the shit over there. I really liked it, and it was more serious.
Rick Rude was the shit anywhere he ever went, and
I just like Dangerous Alliance a lot. I like them a lot.
He proved he was the shit when he showed up and was literally on your TV screen in 2 fucking different places at the exact same time.
Yeah. Don't adjust your TV.
Don't adjust. You flip back and
forth. Get a look at a real man on 2 TVs.
That's what I'm saying. Like literally, I kid you not. When that happened, because I would flip back and forth because again, I watched wrestling growing up. The WWE/WWF was all about the comical, gimmicks for me. They didn't really move me. I didn't too much care for Hulk Hogan like that. So I just knew Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan. But I watched AWA, WCCW, WCW, NWA. So I had wrestlers in my head. And then I had my favorite, quote unquote, like Shawn Michaels, but I knew him as a rocker from the AWA. Like those folks, I followed into the WWF, and then I was able to pick up on some things. But Rick Rude, I was flipping back and forth, and I remember it because that's when WWE was still taping. They weren't live. They weren't live yet, basically. But they were still taping, and I kid you not, I flipped back and forth, and I was like, wait, what? And I flipped back, and I was like, because his hair and his mustache was different, so he shaved, and that's what threw it off for me. And I was like, wait, what? And I flipped back to the other channel, and I'm like, no, he's standing in the fucking ring.
Yeah, he shaved as a rib. He was like, yeah, fuck it. Check this out.
Right.
Because he also shaved, I believe, when he first went over to WCW from wrestling wise.
Yeah,
earlier.
Because he used to have the 5 o'clock shadow, and then he got the goatee, and then he shaved the goatee off and was standing there. I was like, Jesus Christ, wait, Rick Rude can't be in. I was like, oh, somebody's upset. Like that was the first thing I thought about. I was like, somebody in WWE is upset.
Hey man, that's how it worked out. So this next match is, in fact, I believe it is the best match the Ultimate Warrior ever had. What I want to talk about is how much I miss the way they used to do interviews, because this in-ring interview stuff all the time, I could do without it for the rest of my life. I don't need it anymore, or I need it to be very, very rare and post-match or something like that, like it used to be, because I really like when they did the interviews on like the little platform or whatever, and then they did that, or they did the backstage, right?
Which makes sense.
All with Mean Gene, by the way. Mean Gene's all throughout this. We cannot go any further. All the little backstage stuff all throughout the night, tying this whole show together through any of the matches you might think are not worth checking out. It's every single backstage segment is amazing. Like I think all throughout, and it's because of Mean Gene Okerlund and like that long form kind of storytelling that they're doing. And they show a package. This package is amazing. It also reminds me, this match, what happens in this match. Let me start here. The Randy Savage, when he gets pissed off and runs after Flair and whatever in the ring in this package, he fucking ran in for real. Like, this was real to him. Like this was the most realistic. They show it, and he runs over a fucking cameraman. Like he doesn't give a fuck. Like he hurt this person on the way to getting to another person trying to hurt him. It was the most realistic babyface or whatever run in on a dude to beat his ass I've ever seen.
Randy Savage is the Russell Westbrook of wrestling. He's always at 110%. Like he doesn't have a let's turn it down switch.
No, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Like he goes hard. He goes hard for the full hour. If he's wrestling an hour, he's going hard for the full hour. Like it makes no sense that the stamina that he actually has. It's actually
fucking amazing. The Pete Rose of pro wrestling, man. I mean,
seriously.
Mr. Hustle, Johnny Hustle, whatever. He's Randy Savage. Okay. The package is great. Under Ultimate Warrior was wearing singlets at this time that were like the flesh colored, and like he had fucking terrible gear that he didn't need to wear. I don't know what was up with that. That just should have been like indicator number one. I think he was wearing a hat in one of the fucking segments too. Like he was a weird cat, man. You know, and so that's an element here, is that I really think that Randy Savage in this, we have to point out, Hulk Hogan-less show, because he was out kind of staying away, steroid trial stuff a little bit lingering going on, and then also doing movies like Suburban Commando or some shit at this time. And so anyway, he's doing the part-time thing at this point. Randy Savage is like, I'm the champion. And by the way, he says one of the fucking toughest sounding lines in any feud I've ever heard, because you can't work with the Ultimate Warrior in a promo sense. Like the Ultimate Warrior did a promo here in the back. It made no sense. He made no sense. Like it's
none of
kind
his
of amazing.
Promos make any sense.
They're crazy. So you have him, but I love the combination of him and Randy Savage because it's two maniacs, and it's and it's like they're real maniacs. Like they don't really turn it completely off when they're done with this stuff. They kind of are always on, and it's just this collision of ego and everything. And then, but Savage is so talented that, you know, of course he wanted to, I think he took it upon himself, and he can always, you know, could always say that he did work the best match, the Ultimate Warrior. He carried his ass to the best match he ever had, which would be this match. I think that, you know, blow by blow, this is it. It's not that tough of a competition, guys. But
no, but I'm just saying I would agree with you. This is probably his Ultimate Warrior's best match. And like I said, I hate the dude. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I could care less. Like everybody was, oh, Warrior. I hated him running. I hated him going. I hated him shaking the ropes. Everything about the dude, I was just like, really?
Well,
okay. But
I didn't hate it at the time. You know, as a youngling, I was enjoying, you know, a little birdling. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't at the time. I understood it. He never moved me. And then when I grew up to learn about him more, I was like, oh, I got that one right. I never knew at the time. You know, at the time it's just like something about this dude. I just ew. Like, but it was more comical. Again, it was more comical because he made no sense. Grant, I tell you, there was times where he would do promos, and I'd just be like, huh?
Well, yeah.
And I'm a kid, and I was like, huh? I'm a guy. I'm like, that should make sense. Did he have a stroke or?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
So he's chasing the title here, but they're both baby faces, and you can tell that Randy Savage wants to protect himself as a. This is where pro wrestling's at its best, I think, because life and reality, just you know, the story kind of all blurred. Like life imitated art, and art imitated life a little bit. And these two guys both they don't want to fucking do the job to each other, and you know, this is back when guys like would really protect their characters and really protect their career, and it was real to them. And that's how you get like things like Randy Savage running over a cameraman to go get his hands on, you know, Ric Flair. You know, it's like somehow this like kind of long-term story that they're doing about the title Ric Flair is over here now, and he's gunning for the belt. He's the real champ. Blah blah blah. He's doing it. I loved early '90s Ric Flair so much, and Mr. Perfect is here, and he's like this. Of course he's with freaking Flair, and he's like his heavy, and it's just they're just perfect together. I don't know. That's all you needed. He didn't need a whole four horsemen. He just needed Mr. Perfect, and this is like peak Mr. Perfect basically, and he's just such a badass and one of the best workers. This match involves like at least three of the greatest workers ever, and they do interference correctly, which we'll talk about. The Randy Savage line I wanted to point out in his promo against me is that he says, it's like the crux of it all, and it just boils it all down because I think he needed to simplify this with these two maniacs talking. And he was like, "I'm the world WWF champion, and you're not," and it had that electricity to it, man, where it's like I'm speaking to you, warrior man, in this.
Yeah, I'm speaking to the man behind the paint. Just remember, I'm the one with the strap, and you're gonna have to kowtow to me. Like seriously, dude. Like, don't think you're a made man yet. I'm the made man. That's what it kind of. That's how I felt about it. But there was obviously things going on and obviously moving to a different trajectory. But this match, like I said, that's my number 2 in this whole pay-per-view. And believe it, I mean, this thing was like 3 hours, and minus a couple of spots. Thank God I can fast forward now. Still, minus a couple of spots, they still had a good, basically, a good list of matches that wouldn't disappoint if you were in the room.
Yeah, and a lot of spectacle with just good workers, just a lot, very talented lineup, a lot of Hall of Famers all throughout. And the thing, this match is great. Go back and watch it. It's the most tolerable from a working standpoint Ultimate Warrior match. He has to sell, and they get there, basically Savage sort of takes a heelish role, but he's not going all the way. And what becomes amazing is, and this is something that's just such a lost start, is later on when you get Flair and Mr. Perfect coming out and just that drama that you've been building to all night. What's going to happen? Whose side's are going to be on? And then somehow, some way, and maybe it's a little, some people say this match is overbooked. I think they're stupid. I think you can complain about overbooking when like there's not Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, and Randy Savage in the ring. I don't know. Complain about that when you got like bums in there. But if these everybody here pulled this off, where somehow you played with the expectation of which side he's going to go on, or whatever, and you turned it into, well, it's the good guys versus the bad guys, and somehow every single character here kept their position, stayed strong. When everyone got over, like every single person in this match got over. So it's not overbooked in my eyes. To me, this is a masterpiece of how to do this weird booking. And there's so much like business, like panache going on here that it's like a 4-dimensional satisfying match for me, because it's just, this interference is how you do interference. This interference has heat. Like interference nowadays is, they've done it to death, and this is like how you're supposed to do interference. Even with the weird story, what I mean is how they start fucking with the guy in the ring. Like, this is what I forgot. I haven't seen this in so long. It's like good interference.
Yeah. Well, the players that you're using to do the interference matters too. You couldn't pull this off with a bunch of guys who are like mid-carders or folks who don't know necessarily how to get a story across. You got Ric Flair, you got Mr. Perfect. I mean, if those two guys can't get a story across, I don't know who could. So that also helped this whole thing come to the peak that it came to. What I did notice in watching that, though, it was I mean, obviously it was setting Flair up for whatever the run is, but it was very noticeable that basically the two people in the ring although they are the story, they are not the story. That's what I noticed by all this interference. It like they made it look as if Flair basically came up with this genius of a plan. So I did like that.
Yeah, and I don't fully understand what the plan is.
Well, the plan was for Flair to become the world heavyweight champion, because Ric Flair without the world heavyweight championship, it just looks like naked. You expect him to have that belt. Like, he's the only guy you expect to, as much as you sit there and say, oh, we want to give people a chance and blah, 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 blah. But literally, if Flair's in the building and he's going to be a regular, I expect Ric Flair to have that belt because he's Ric Flair. Like, that's how good he is. So that was the plan. And I just didn't know how they were going to get
it. But I think it was like he's trying to figure out which was the softer target or whatever. Or the idea was also like,
and he knew he wasn't going to
beat each other up. And it was kind of like he was, I know what it was. I mean, it was just, his plan was like, I'm going to turn these two on each other so that the Warrior wears out Macho, and then I'll pick up the pieces or some version thereof.
Yes, it's the theory Roman and Brock story.
Yes.
Just 30 years prior.
Yeah. I guess so. Huh? He's like, I'm just going to watch these two. Well, he needs this Mr. Perfect. Theory does. Because Mr. Perfect really pulled this off. And Mr. Perfect was jacked. Everybody in this match looks, this is like peak physical condition, I think, for all of them. And I mean, the Ultimate Warrior looks like a fucking comic book character. So as much as like, I'm not a complete anti-warriorist. I do admit that, when something pops me, I'm like, all right, I popped. I'll give it some credit for something. And I mean, I think it's a real hipster thing to go back and, like with Goldberg, for instance, and be like, oh yeah, I didn't like it even when he was just winning every week. Oh yeah, really? You didn't like that? You didn't like the 100? Oh, huh? Oh, okay. What else don't you like? Puppies? Like, I don't believe you. And it was so like, but
Julian, real quick.
Yeah.
I always hated Goldberg, so those people do exist.
Well, the hipster take, right? Is that what I said? I said the hipster take?
Maybe. I don't think this episode's doing me any favors between Undertaker, Bret Hart, and Goldberg.
My God. So anyway, Warrior was Warrior at this time, and he was he's very warrior-y in this match. What did you think about this match then, Grant? Huh? This didn't do anything for you? This did something for you.
No,
this did for you hard.
The match. I'm with you. I think it was one of Warrior's best matches, but I'm with Greg. I'm not a Warrior fan. I wasn't when I was young, and then as you find out stuff as an adult, like, no. And yeah, I mean, it's what I said earlier. It's one of his best matches, but I'll give that to the other three people that were around him.
Oh yes, but that's part of pro wrestling. It really is when you got a guy, usually you got these baby faces, they'll be literally a good-looking young person or something, and they might have more of the stuff you can't train for, the looks, right? It's usually like a look or some shit. They fit a character, they fit a role. It's up to all these really good workers to figure out how to fuck it. And that's the mentality of a good worker is how can I help you? How can I make the show? How can I get the money out of you so that I make money, so we all make money, yada, yada, yada. And so there's also bragging rights in the back amongst who can carry these, shitty over kids or whatever, the rookies or whatever, who can carry them to a good match. And it's just a mark of a good wrestler. And that's what Randy Savage did here.
Yeah, because Dolph Ziggler does it all the time.
Dolph Ziggler does it all the time. Exactly.
Dolph Ziggler carries people that good. Yep. I mean, they probably don't know they're being carried, but Dolph Ziggler does it all the time. He is probably the most underrated professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Today. Because what he did with Grant, I'll tell you, what he did with Goldberg, I couldn't stop talking for damn near 2 weeks. That shit was absolutely amazing.
He took it upon himself, and everybody in the back that was probably like a curtain sellout, whatever you call it. They always watch all the matches anyway, but he probably put that on himself to be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking have the best Goldberg match ever. Watch. Or sometimes you get the Steven Regal match, which I love, by the way.
I was about to say, technically, is it the best Goldberg match? I mean, seriously,
I love that one
because
that's the one where he actually got beat up by somebody.
that was amazing. Every time he would go, he would get fucking demolished, and then he'll be like, "Hey Goldberg, stupid idiot."
He was like drunk and shit.
Fucking amazing. And I know what he did. I know why they did it, because that was the match after the fucking horrible debacle over there in Saudi Arabia, where fucking Goldberg gave himself a fucking concussion before he even got out there, and he damn near killed the Undertaker, dropped him on his head. So I get it. But
Goldberg also got a concussion mid-match with who was that? Might have been Mr. Perfect. I'm not sure. He got a concussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I get why they did it, but like just to have Dolph Ziggler know that that this is to help this guy get over. Like, this is to save face and make people forget about that damn Saudi Arabia show. Like, and he did his job. Like, it was fucking amazing.
It was super hot in Saudi Arabia, and there was those two old guys just dying in like 130 degrees or some shit.
And one of them was concussed, and the other one couldn't do anything with. Think about it, Undertaker with
wear shorts that night, not leather pants.
But I'm just saying, you got a guy with one hip. Like, Undertaker has a replaced hip. And then you got another guy who's probably about 250 dead weight now. So he's probably going to be 500 pounds because his dead weight can't do anything. And you got a guy with a bad hip trying to lift a guy who was completely concussed to do stuff with. That was doomed from the start. I mean, I don't know how, you can't not actually put the show on because you want to make sure you leave that country alive, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, okay, everybody saw it. We got to figure out how to fix it. We can fix the Undertaker at WrestleMania, so he'll be fine. But Jesus Christ, we got to fix this Goldberg thing. And Dolph Ziggler did his damn job. He really did.
Well, this was an old time version of that in a way, but I think Warrior was a better worker. Certainly knew how to do more. He knew how to actually go through a match all the way.
Yeah, he just didn't care. That's the thing. Yeah, he didn't actually care. That's
by all means, Ultimate Warrior was much more well trained than Goldberg.
Yes,
had actual training, and for crying out loud, his first tag team was with Sting, who is without a doubt a very good wrestler. So he had a decent enough background. Either way, that match was great. It's another one of these. We did not wrap. It was a count out. So the Ultimate Warrior got the win. Savage keeps his belt.
They both look strong.
They chased off the heels. They look strong, and it's a great story. And then the next match was what we've covered already: The Undertaker defeating Kamala. And then the next was a dark match, which they put those. So when you take the dark matches off, I think the show flows a little bit better. And that's probably what they did for the broadcast, like the tape.
I don't think I saw the dark matches. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I'm blanking on this. I believe that the dark matches are on there on the network because it's the tape. It's like the Coliseum home video version of the show.
But even when you're talking about it earlier, I was thinking about it because I swear that mine started with the Road Warriors match.
Yeah, it may have started with them. Maybe it did. I don't know. I feel like I've seen these matches. I could just be conflating them with another event. But yeah, Tatanka went against Berserker in a dark match.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't
okay. I'm not crazy. I was freaking out for a second. Like, what did I watch? Did I even watch 92?
Yeah, I was like, wait, Tatanka.
That is literally a go to the bathroom match before the main event. Like, if there's ever been one, is Tatanka versus the Berserker after a fucking Undertaker appearance. Which the Undertaker, we talked about his entrance. This is like the first epic entrance of the Undertaker, I believe.
Right. Yep. It was.
And really that's what it's all about. And the Paul Bearer character, and it's just full on, OG year one Undertaker here. And it's Kamala, who seems like a great character that from the business. Really nice guy, apparently, all that. Yeah, Tatanka, or sorry, Kamala, just doing the job, being fed to the Undertaker at this point.
Yeah.
But it was disqualification or whatever.
Let's
So I think
get to Brett.
We're getting to Brett. Let's get to the good shit.
All right, come back. I'm out.
You're out? You're not out. We're talking about this match, Grant. All right. Bret Hart, a couple of little factoids. Bret Hart, once again, has said that this is his favorite match of his entire career, or best match, however he sort of states that. Another little factoid that's on the wiki that was apparently in Bret Hart's book is that he could not get a hold, and this is from the autobiography of Hitman, my real life in the cartoon world of wrestling, which I think I'm just going to buy that book because it's just, I don't know, if I need an extra salt, I run out of salt, maybe I'll just take the pages here, season my steaks with it, because he is a salty man in that book apparently. But anyhow, he says that he could not get a hold of Davey Boy Smith to prepare for the match. They had a few weeks and they were gonna get ready. They had time, and no, because he couldn't find him because he says that he was smoking crack cocaine with Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So they were just preparing. I don't know. British Bulldog looks great for a guy who's just been smoking crack for 3 weeks. Apparently, I mean, he just looks like $1 million here. This match, of course, they are brothers-in-law. This involved the family. This was like the first Hart family story that they ever told, and they would go back to this well many times after this. To me, the promo where Bret Hart's sort of taking a little bit of the heel role, this promo is like the earliest example of what he would be doing in the late 90s. To me, this is heel Bret, like the first appearance, issue number 1. Like this is where you get a little preview of what's to come. And I do think that this match and this event and all of this gave everybody the feeling that this dude's pretty over, at least certainly in Europe. And he can pack a house. He can put on a big event. He could be the top guy. And I think Bret Hart probably got a lot of confidence from this whole experience that he could be like the man in the business. And you watch this, it's 80,000 people. It's for the Intercontinental title. They have Lennox Lewis come out with the British Bulldog. Again, the package was very, very good. And Diana Hart is like ringside, so they're getting interviews with her. She has the thickest Canadian accent you've ever heard in your life. And the entrances are great. And, it's for the Intercontinental title. The Intercontinental title has never been bigger. Bret did he's still doing the babyface glasses gimmick with the kid ringside. And then they proceed to have a match. Apparently a man fresh off of a 3-week crack binge works with perhaps the greatest in-ring performer of all time. I think the greatest wrestling storyteller of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. And I think that this is in the top 5 of Bret Hart matches for sure. He says it's his favorite, I think, because of the event. And it told an amazing story. This was an incredible, mostly technical match. It was pretty damn hard hitting and stuck to the formula. Bret took the heel roll a little bit. And it has one of the most iconic little roll-up finishes you've ever seen, back when they didn't ever fucking do roll-up finishes. So there was a lot of things on this show that they overdo now that hit a hell of a lot harder back then and in this show. And it just shows you how, when you do it right, some of the little things really fucking work. And this was the best roll-up finish, I think, in any match I've ever seen.
Number one, you're in Wembley. The Bulldog has to win. So how we get there is going to be, all right, let's see how we get there. I believe that roll up is more believable and makes both of them still kind of look strong than if you pin 1, 2, 3, like, you know, a finish or a you know, cover 1, 2, 3. So that to me, I don't know who picked the finish or whatever, but that
Probably
to
Brett.
me, yeah, that to me worked. Especially now that you said what you said. I mean, coming off a 3-week crack binge,
Yep.
your stamina probably isn't there. So
He
Brett
had
probably
stamina issues,
knew. Yeah, and Brett probably
but
knew, okay, we got to get out of here because you're now running on fumes. So that's
25
even more
minutes.
amazing.
So it's a 25-minute match. I think it's the only good long British Bulldog match. He honestly did not have a whole lot of them. He did not have this belt for super long. He had famous reliability issues. I think he would I don't know. His career was a bit of a mess at times. Of course, well documented.
Well, yeah, and
This
that's
is
what I was
his
about to
debut of
say.
his corn
He's
rolls.
huge too. He's
He's
huge.
huge.
So you have to think
He was
about it.
massive.
There's not too many large individuals. I mean, you know, outside of Undertaker or whatever, but like there's not too many large individuals that can go 25 minutes.
No.
So, I mean, the mere fact that it got that far, okay, wow. All right. I'll take that. So
It was it was a super athletic match. I mean, this is when they were doing, and all the Bret Hart 5 moves of doom looked like a little savage. They looked a little more like I feel like Bret Hart has gears, and when he's in like a personal issue match, he does things with a little more ink to him, a little more oomph.
yeah.
And I just felt like he was doing that all show. I love the way the ring was like elevated. This match starts off with this incredible shoulder block that Brett sells, and you almost would think he oversold it because it goes outside the ring and like down and tumbling, whatever. It honestly looked like there's been a lot of the rash of like knockouts in boxing and kickboxing lately where guys are falling out of the ring. And
Mhm.
it looked fucking like that. And it just looked so realistic. It was like the difference between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, or Bret Hart and Ric Flair, I would say, is the way that he could sell something that's almost ridiculous, like getting knocked out of the ring like that, all the way out down to the floor, down to the other floor. But it fucking looked real, and it's a big ass dude doing that to you. And so it just looks so. It just started. That's how it starts. That's how the match starts.
Yeah,
And it
where
was
he tumbles and almost rolls off because, like you said, it's elevated. So there's
Yeah.
there's the mats, or you know, right outside of the ring. But then there's this almost 2 foot, 3 foot drop off,
Yeah.
and he almost drops off and like hits the barricade, and he kind of sits there, like, okay, Jesus Christ, I'm in for a long night. Yeah, so I enjoyed it very much. I didn't think I would enjoy, like, I saw things that I didn't see obviously the first time around, and I haven't revisited this particular pay-per-view. So it's almost watching it brand new for me with the eyes that I have now, which actually is kind of refreshing, and that's why I said it made me, you know, go, Jesus, Brett's very, very good.
Yes.
He is. I mean, no matter, I know Grant doesn't give two shits about Brett, but he's, to me, I was like, wow.
But did this match do something for Grant? I mean, because this is just one of the all-time stories, I think.
Grant went and got popcorn.
Sure.
No, it didn't do anything for me.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The best part.
No, I watched it and I watched it. I understand what you guys are saying.
Oh my
There's
god.
just something that I'm not going to get very excited about when it comes to a Brett match. It's just not going to happen.
But let Baron
For me.
Corbin show
But
up.
that's why.
God.
No, but fuck you guys. No, so like
Like,
But
yeah,
that's
you know,
what
we go to
wrestling's about,
Gibson's and
right?
get this steak, or we could just go to the gas
no,
station.
but that's what wrestling's about. Is that it's something for everybody. Brett's not my cup of tea,
Okay.
but I understand why people do like him, and there's a reason why he was on the top. You know, for a while.
Yeah, and I think that he is like there was just discussion about like because after few years after this, they started going into the downslope with like what 94, 95 was like down years business wise, right? And they were blaming the whoever was on top, Michaels, Diesel, and Brett, right? And there's some guys that shoot their mouth off in shoot interviews saying that he was either one of those three in a rotation. Whenever a guy wants to take a hot take, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, they're the lowest drawing champions, whatever. They didn't draw any money." Brett is not in that conversation because this is a worldwide company, and I swear to you, his money and his draw in the other parts of the world is so significant that you can't put him in that Diesel category or the Michaels thing or whatever. I think he's a real draw, and this show showed it because he's on top of it, and it's 80,000 fucking people. You know.
Yeah, I think for folks, because I know we've been going quite a bit longer than what I thought we would do, because I wanted to touch on some other things, but I think I'll save it for the next show. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, if you really haven't paid attention to Bret Hart, definitely go watch this match and then watch the matches with Owen. If you watch the matches with Owen, and truthfully, between the two, Owen was better. But
he could do a little more.
Yeah, like Owen, I guess it's the natural God-given talent of Owen. Like Bret worked very, very hard, and he was very good at what he did. But Owen is just, Jesus Christ. Naturally, Owen's fucking amazing. So, not saying that Owen didn't work. I'm just saying there's something with Owen. There's that thing with Owen. But if you watch those matches, I'm telling you, you'll get an appreciation for storytelling and probably a better appreciation for the Hitman. That a lot of things got lost within the growth of the Attitude Era and other things. So, that being said, Grant, anything that you want to touch on, or do you want to just take us out?
Well, yeah, final thoughts on SummerSlam 1992 from Grant, who...
Well, yeah, I talked so much. I was so excited. No, there was like the two matches for me, really. It was the Michaels match and the Macho match. The rest of it three. The Road Warriors, IRS, $1 Million Man match. Those are all good, but I mean, that's what you get when you get those types of people. Now, something like the Natural Disasters, is that what their name was? There's
Natural, yeah, because it was typhoon and earthquake.
It wasn't like inflation and gas shortage. The national
did Typhoon. Did he turn into Shark, or was he like Tornado or something? What the hell was his name?
Well, yeah,
he was Tugboat.
Well, yeah.
Remember
when he went
Tugboat?
to WCW?
Yeah. Oh,
no, he was Tugboat. Then he turned into Typhoon.
Right.
Going with Earthquake. Yes, he turned on Hogan.
Okay. I thought he was Shark at some point.
No, Typhoon is basically
over like a rover.
You know who he is? Typhoon is the Shockmaster.
He was the Shockmaster.
Oh yeah, he is, isn't he?
Typhoon.
He never got off the ground. Yeah. I always say I met Typhoon. I really forget that I should start saying I met the Shockmaster, but he was wearing Typhoon gear. He was Typhoon, and huge man.
I can say for Julian, once again, it's wrestling. It's all subjective. So for Julian being as excited as he was, I was looking for a little bit more from this show.
Oh yeah, but then I knew.
This is also something. This is also something that it's the early '90s. It's not what it is now. So, I think that it was creeping in, and they were learning, how to make a bigger show. It felt like a big show. But yeah, for me, it ended with Macho and Warrior.
Yeah. I like I said, for those matches were to me the best part of the show. The ending with Bret and the British Bulldog, and having his wife and Bret's sister come in and hold both their hands up for an actual ending to a pay-per-view, that worked perfectly for me as well. So like there were little things, like I said, it was almost like watching it for the first time that I can appreciate now. So
Yeah, I just have a couple add-ons here to tack on. Randy Savage, we forgot to point this out, was selling a leg injury probably better than anyone has ever sold a leg injury in the history of any selling of anything. And that's part of what protected him in this because he couldn't get back to the ring.
Right, and he didn't
And
switch legs.
No, never switched legs, and that he sold that all the way up to losing to Ric Flair at a TV taping. And he sold that going into that match. He had a bum leg. So this was all that story. That's where that story wrapped up, was him dropping the title to Ric Flair, but even protecting himself from Ric Flair. And it was like Mr. Perfect and Razor Ramon actually helped him. So this is like how they brought in Razor Ramon. This led to Razor Ramon because the first thing that actually happened for Razor Ramon was Savage and Ramon. So that I mean, it's pretty fucking cool if you watch that whole thing play out. And then yes, Roddy Piper came out and played bagpipes. We didn't mention that, but those some good. I don't know. There's lots of nostalgia. I understand if some of it fell flat for you. It is a gimmicky show where they don't wrap up a lot of things, but I hope you understand my enthusiasm also came from the broadcasting standpoint, as I just think that this was like a fucking movie all throughout. And I really, I'm glad we went ad nauseum on the Martel Michaels match, because you just don't, when that shit is done right, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. So,
and also Lennox Lewis's hair, take a look at it. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that thing.
Well, that was before the dreads and stuff, the braids. So,
oh man,
but So, hey, Grant, go ahead and take us out, folks. We'll see you next week, and hopefully, I can touch on that A&E documentary. Actually, it'll be a couple of them would have happened, so I could touch on a couple of them, and I could tell you what I really thought about that Goldberg one.
Sure, and a little McMahon action maybe for the last time.
Yeah, probably for the final time. So, Grant, do what you do best.
Come back.
We are the Fabulous Threebirds, and like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff, and we'll see you next week.